don't know if this is gonna work, but anyway, let's do this again. Okay, so my topic is breastfeeding, science, and society. Hopefully you can hear me. My thesis, breastfeeding is an act of feeding a child breast milk from the mother's breast. It is a beneficial and natural act that mothers need to become aware of and the public needs to support. The decline of breastfeeding worldwide is due to societal norms, demands placed on women, healthcare policies and practices, and marketing of other alternatives. So I'm going to talk about 5 main topics that I found in my research. So the first one is information expansion, the effects without it. Many women decide not to breastfeed due to lack of knowledge that is provided to them about the benefits and risks of the act. Women have stated that information is rarely given by health experts during prenatal visits. So it's hard for mothers to decide what's best for them and what's best for their child without having any information. And by the time they do get the information, usually the child is already born, and then they don't know how to carry out the act, and it's too late. Or the baby gets used to formula. Information expansion, effects without it continued. Some choose not to solely because they do not know how to carry out the act to have a successful feeding. Things that fall under this is they don't know how to get the baby to latch on properly, and sometimes they don't know how to get sufficient milk out. Many rely on written work for information. Majority of the time, it is ineffective and not a priority to have in low-income families. The reason why it's ineffective is because even though a pamphlet says you should do this and this and this, it doesn't cover every situation. Every mother is different. Every child is different. And so if a mother has a question, a pamphlet's not going to fully answer that. So in-person communication really helps. Information expansion, we can change the inconsistencies and the troubles of it. To create change, mothers need time, support, and information as well as others surrounding them. Healthcare professionals should rightfully inform mothers about the advantages and risks so they can make the best choice for their child. It was found that in a study that was to educate fathers on breastfeeding that there was a 20% increase in breastfeeding rates after the information was provided. So this information shouldn't just be provided to mothers, it should also be provided to fathers as well, because they can help with the feedings, and they can also encourage the mothers to do it. Under public policy of Kansas, a mother's choice to breastfeed should be supported and encouraged to the fullest extent. The Pope supports the heightening of awareness of the act of breastfeeding as it is extremely helpful to the development of a child. The Pope said this quote right here. It says, "If they are hungry, mothers feed them without thinking twice, because they are the most important people here." Pope Pius XII encouraged Catholic mothers to nourish their children themselves. So this just shows how the state and the church both support the act. Societal norms. Society expects many rules for women that time for breastfeeding is not always available or a priority anymore, such as being a wife, a mother, a co-worker, a provider. They take on a lot of roles, and sometimes things get pushed to the back burner, such as breastfeeding. A lot of mothers are under the misconception that it will be easy. They face challenges for reality and tend to give up after 2 weeks postpartum. Some of these challenges include getting the child to latch on successfully and insufficient milk supply. Embarrassment by the public is one of the main reasons many mothers stop breastfeeding or refuse to start due to the shame that's put on them by feeding their child. 45% of U.S. adults stated that breastfeeding women have to give up aspects of their lifestyle to breastfeed. Some mothers see this as a threat to their freedom and independence that they decide not to partake. This is a corrupted mentality that is leading people astray from the benefits and advantages of the act. Mothers have constant pressure at work from co-workers not to take breaks to express milk, and if they do, the breaks usually are not long enough to express milk. Some workplaces do not have an area to do this, and many resort to the bathroom, which is unhygienic. I will reference this later in my PowerPoint to go on to another point about this and how it should be changed and how it has changed, or it should be. Jobs that contain less flexibility and long hours of separation make it more difficult to breastfeed. Mothers fear that their pay may be reduced if they take breaks to express breast milk. The stigma around breasts being sexual objects leaves women to feel uncomfortable about breastfeeding in public. Societal norms. Some examples of this actually happening in real life. A mother in Minnesota this past summer was asked to stop breastfeeding, cover up, or move from the pool she was at with her other children. The mother felt humiliated and went home crying to her husband about being ashamed for caring for her child. But these society norms can be reformed and changed. The longer maternity leaves allow women to combine breastfeeding and employment so they can focus on their child once the child is born and breastfeed them, and then they can return to work and still be that provider in that role. Or they can also have better employment regulations and opportunities that allow them to combine both at the same time. The women in Minnesota created a nurse-in where mothers went one day and all nursed their children outside the pool that belittled the act of the mother. The women saw a change to normalize the feeding of a child instead of interpreting it as an immodest act. The support of a father can benefit the mother. Women found to breastfeed longer because of the support of their partner that was informed and can help them with challenges such as pain or fear of insufficient milk. So going back to what I said, the father also needs to be informed so he can help as well. That his role is still there. It's not solely on the mother. It is an incomparable experience. It is a natural bond in an action, as it is used and pictured in the church to symbolize God caring for man. Majority of women who breastfeed their first child choose to breastfeed their next children. The mothers benefit from it. Breastfeeding releases hormones prolactin and oxytocin. Prolactin produces a peaceful sensation that allows the mother to relax and focus on their child. Oxytocin promotes a strong love and attachment between the child and the mother. Mothers who breastfeed recover from childbirth quicker due to oxytocin. It helps return the uterus to a regular size much faster and reduces the chance of postpartum bleeding. There is a lower risk of breast cancer and ovarian cancer to those who have breastfed. Obviously, the child would benefit. Infants who are breastfed for at least 4 months were less likely to be hospitalized for illnesses such as bronchiolitis, I don't even know. You can read it. Or pneumonia. Those who are breastfed 6 months or more are less likely to develop leukemia and lymphoma than those who are fed formula. The immune components in breast milk provide protection from allergies. Some of these allergies include eczema, like on this picture. They have less tummy troubles and food allergies. They have healthier hearts, better vision, better brain development, fewer ear and respiratory infections, and they have a significant reduction of the risk of SIDS, which I will talk about in the next slide. There is a 36% reduction risk of SIDS for those who are breastfed. SIDS is a sudden infant death syndrome. And basically what that means is children under the age of 1 who die for an unknown reason. They think it's because of SIDS. And usually it happens at night, and there's no noise when the child passes, and there's no evidence of struggle. Breastfed children are less likely to become obese or develop type 1 and type 2 diabetes. The milk is so beneficial to families. Human milk is free. Formula can range from $4 to $10 per day. So if you're in a low-income family, formula can help your budget out a lot. Or not formula. Oh my god. That was so bad. What am I doing? Okay. Human milk is free. So if you're in low-income families, it can help your budget out a lot. Formula is expensive if you average it out per day. $4 to $10. That's like going to Jimmy John's every day or Panera. It adds up over time. So if you spend $10 per day, 30 days, that's $300 you're spending per month on your child. Breastfeeding is also eco-friendly. No waste of plastic bottles that have to be cleaned or formula cans that need to be thrown out. So you're feeding your child for free and you're saving the planet. I think it's a win-win. The milk also contains all the nutrients a baby needs to be healthy and antibiotics, immune factors, enzymes, and white blood cells. These protect the baby from diseases during and sometimes past breastfeeding. Human milk promotes the growth of healthy bacteria in the intestinal tract. It reduces the growth of bad bacteria, which may cause diarrhea. You know what less poop means? It means less diapers, which means less money. So again, a win-win situation. Also, this is a meme. It says, he needs some milk. Encouragement by law. All 50 states, including the District of Columbia, Puerto Rico, the Virgin Islands, enables the ability to breastfeed at any public or private location at any time. Kansas, along with Puerto Rico and 16 other states, exempts breastfeeding mothers from jury duty or have the jury duty postponed. So this thing says support moms to breastfeed anytime, anywhere. We can all help make society breastfeeding friendly. So if anyone's like, you can't do that here, blah, 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 they're wrong. You can pull it up. It's a law. You have every right as a mother to do whatever you want with your child. Under the federal law of the Affordable Care Act, which has been in effect since 2010, which that amazes me that it took this long to get this in effect, employers are required to provide proper break time for nursing mothers to pump breast milk up to 1 year after the child is born. So if you think your pay is getting reduced, or if they're not giving you breaks, then they can technically be sued because that's breaking the law. So get your coin, girls. Anyway, that's just a joke. Don't actually do that. Employers are required to provide a location other than the bathroom. You know how I mentioned earlier how many resort to using the bathroom, which is unhygienic? They're required to provide you with a location that is shielded from the public view other than the bathroom. So again, if they're not doing that, call them out on it. They're breaking the law. And free from intrusion of coworkers to pump breast milk. So in conclusion, the church supports and encourages breastfeeding. Although breastfeeding is shown to have many benefits, the information is not always provided to the public, which needs to be reformed. Breastfeeding should be a societal norm that is lifted and supported by the public, not dragged down. Laws have made big strides on the topic, but some employers fail to follow through on requirements, and the de facto of the situation is still at hand. Thank you.